I was told that I should tell stories, in speedruns. And I thought that was a great idea, right? So, we're gonna tell my favorite story. And also my least favorite story, which will hopefully take up an entire glitchless run. Which is... the story as to how I got to where I am today, alright? This is a great story, but we're not going to be starting, like, way back when I was a mere infant, alright? We're just gonna, like, go all the way back to when, you know, like, I got Rec Room. So, October of 2019, alright? I'm having one of my friends over, okay? And he's like, hey man, you know, you should try out Rec Room, because I've had a VR headset for the past, like, while, alright? I've had it for, like, the past year, you know? That's a Discord notification. And so, you know, he's like, hey man, you know, get Rec Room, because you only really have, like, Pavlov and Gorn on your computer, and you're getting bored of VR, and I want to get you back into VR. And I'm like, okay, I'll try out Rec Room. And so he's like, alright, let's do it. And so we try it out, right? And at first I'm not having any of it. We play dodgeball, pretty boring. We play paintball, we play all the sports stuff, right? And he's like, oh yeah, I forgot, there's also, like, this, like, there's all these other mini games where it's like, they're like little, they're called quests, and I'm like, ah, quests? You say, what are those? And he's like, ah, I'll show you. Alright, and so we go to Golden Trophy, and, let's just say that quest was fun enough to keep me playing Rec Room for another, 5 hours. Because we did it. We got to, like, Act 8, and then we just were like, okay, that's the farthest we're gonna get. We'll try this again some other day, right? So, we do that. We take a bit of a break, and then we decide, hey, we're gonna hop onto the other quest, that we knew of, which was Jumbotron, alright? We just didn't... Crimson Isle and Crescendo, we just didn't know what they were, right? So, like, we were just kind of like, they were oblivious to us, okay? At the time. So he's like, all right, well, we'll try the Rise of Jumbotron. And unlike Golden Trophy, that kept me playing Rec Room for about a few months, like way longer than Golden Trophy did. All right, like that. The area, like all. Okay, that's gonna make so. Back when we did Jumbotron a lot, me and this friend, this was back in 2019 when people were memeing about the Area 51 raid, alright? And so what we did was we kind of joked around, pretending that the Rise of Jumbotron was us raiding Area 51, and it was hilarious, alright? We had a blast doing that. And so, you know, it kept me playing Jumbotron for a while. After a while, we both kind of learned about glitch spots. And then we both abused the fuck out of them to get S rank. And then after we had pretty much the entire S rank set, we kind of just like, we're like, okay, now let's just get the entire S rank set without glitch spots. And so we did that, and I think that was where like a good portion of my wins came from. So after a while, I get really good Jumbotron. And I'm like, alright, well, I'm confident enough to try out public lobbies, right? And so I do that, and I met this dude named Slayer, okay? That was his name, right? And he was like, hey, you know, the Jumbotron is pretty cool, and I think that was where about nearly 100 of my 160 Jumbotron wins came from, was just playing with that dude, right? And, like, he kind of vanished at one point. He kind of just, like, he kind of disappeared. But when he left, he left wearing the S Plus cape, and I was like, hey, what's that? He's like, oh, it's from a quest called Crescendo, and I'm like, they have more? And he's like, yeah, and he shows me Crescendo, and keep in mind, I've already found out about Isle and Crimson at this point, and they don't interest me, but Crescendo, that was something new, okay? Like, that was the beginning to me falling in love with this quest. So I show it to the old guy, the first guy, the guy who introduced me to Rec Room. We're just gonna call him Poodle because it's basically what that's basically what his online name is. Not Poodle, but it's like Poodle something. So, you know, just calling him Poodle. He's like, hey man. No, he's not a furry. He's like, I'm like, hey man, there's like Crescendo as well, and he's like, there's a what? And then I'm like, there's this quest. And he's like, oh yeah, I played something like that. And I'm like, yeah, dude, it's fun as hell, right? So we play like 4 games, and immediately we're no longer obsessed with just beating Jumbotron for the millionth time. Like, we are dead set on this Crescendo thing now. And we'd not haul ass like we did in Jumbotron, honestly. We would only beat it like once a week. And whenever we would beat it, it would always be with a C rank. We would always die at boss or right before boss. But despite all that, I gained like kind of a love for the quest, right? And so because I kind of gained a love for this quest, I was kind of like, well, you know, I'll, you know, just not play it for like a long time. Okay? I'm gonna get into Rec Royale. That's what I said, and I speedran Rec Royale. And fun fact, I actually made a new channel, which was gonna just be like my second account, because I already had a YouTube channel. This was just gonna be like my second one for Rec Room speedruns. I wanted to be a rec tuber, and so my first ever video on this account was a 6-minute Rec Royale speedrun. And I don't have the footage to it anymore, but if I did, I would absolutely have showed it to you. It was like, I cussed a lot. I swore like a sailor in it. And because of that, my mom was not very happy. You know. And she was like, oh, I can't show it to your grandparents. Like, oh yeah. Grandpappy and grandma are just gonna be so devastated when they can't watch Rec Royale speedrun on VR, a concept that they understand actually quite a bit, but you know, not nearly as much. So, you know, I decided to speedrun Rec Royale, and needless to say, I speedran it. And then I saw a bunch of, I started to see like more and more people wear this S Plus cape thing, right? It was becoming an epidemic. And keep in mind, this was almost about like a year and a few months ago, alright? So we're closing in on Crescendo time. And they're wearing all this like S Plus stuff and this midnight stuff, and I'm like, huh? This is crazy, right? So I'm like, that's a little cool, but like, you know, I don't really want it that bad. So, you know, I kind of gained a few new friends, and then they're wearing S Plus, and I'm like, well, might as well just get good at Crescendo, right? Because I was like, alright, I'm gonna head back to Crescendo, and I played it again. I'm like, why did I play Rec Royale over this, right? And I'd play it like a few hours every day, and then I got an S Plus in like a trio. The photo is still on rec.net, I guarantee you. with a guy named Drac Bandicoot and Brennan Mocha. We did it over the course of, I think, nearly an hour, 50-ish minutes. Like, a long time. And, you know, we just did it. We had a lot of fun. Probably. Yeah, there we go. And so, yeah, I got S+, and then I had driver's ed, like, the next few days. So what I did was I just get an S+, like a solo S+, every day before driver's ed. And then I got to a point where I was getting like 2, and then like 3. And then I started grinding for midnight. And so, you know, I got midnight, and one of my friends was like, hey, I want midnight. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll help you get midnight, right? And so I helped them get midnight. I'm pretty close to unlocking everything. And I'm like, alright, well, how can I unlock everything in this game, but faster? And they're like, oh, no. And I'm like, speed running. So I'm grinding with, like, keep in mind, this person's like a mobile player, right? Now, I would say carrying, but, there's reasons why I don't. And so, I'm assisting this mobile player. And, they're like, you know, speedrun. Well, I'm like, speedrun. And then, you know, I start doing speedrunning tactics. And it's like love at first sight, right? I'm like, holy shit, man, why did I... Because I didn't want to speedrun Crescendo prior. I felt like, I just got S+. Why would I speedrun, you know? And so immediately, I kind of just, like, went on to speedrun.com. And I was like, what do people do on here, you know? I kind of just went to see what was up. And, needless to say, I think it was V-Mika's run, but it may have been, Cupcakes. It had skips, alright? And I was like, wait, you can do that? And so I watched V-Mika, and then I watched Cupcake, and then I watched Josiah Hammer. And then and keep in mind, I knew about Willaf, like, months before this, right? Like, when I started playing Crescendo, I knew who Willaf was. I found him on YouTube. I was like, holy shit, this dude's the best. And I just followed him. I just followed him, alright? Like I subscribed to him on YouTube. I was like, hey, awesome Crescendo guy. I'm just gonna silently sub to this dude and just watch him and what he does, right? And so then I find this Josiah Hammer character, and I'm like, oh, holy shit, you know? This is unprecedented, right? So I kind of switched focus to my speedrunning channel, completely disregarding my whole thing of becoming a rec tuber, because I'm like, alright, I want to speedrun Crescendo. I want to upload some, I want to get some PBs, I want to have some fun, and that's what I do. I have fun, and, you know, I get, like, a pretty good, S-rank time, and I'm like, nice, because I didn't know about many, skips, and I didn't feel like taking many of them. Only dog skip and the, Act 1 skip, right? And so, you know, I kind of did that. I was kind of like, okay, these speedruns aren't bad, but, like, you know, I bet I can beat myself, right? And so I do again and again, and I start taking skips, and I start beating myself again and again, and then I start uploading my 80% runs. And after about a week of speedrunning, I get a world record, and I'm like, oh, right? Because, like, that was unprecedented for me. Like, getting the world record for Crescendo, like, that was just something new. That was something I never expected. And, I did it, right? Just, like, without any assistance, without any, like, you know, I don't know how I'd get assisted on a solo speedrun, but, you know, anything can happen, right? And so, you know, I kind of am like, I'm in this state of like, oh, I just did it. I got the world record. And then about a week later, a week passes, Brackets comes in, he's like, hey, bitches, what's up? And then he kicks my ass, right? And so I get banned. not because of anything with speedrunning, but because of like being cringe. And so I get banned, and then Brackets beats my record, and then I have this overwhelming urge to like re-beat him, but I also don't want to get back into speedrunning. I'm like, oh man, but speedrunning just ain't for me anymore, right? That was complete bullshit, but you know, like, just follow along. And so, you know, I grind Glitchless, I get, you know, some stuff there, I do a bunch of stuff, and then, bada boom, bada bam, here I am telling you this story. That would have actually lasted a lot longer. Doesn't matter though, cause that's a PB. Hey, let's go. 10 tokens. Open up the box. You can't grab tokens. Well, there you go. There's story time with Was a Mistake, and it's a Glitchless PB as well.